Today, we're going to be talking about how to break through the resistance right now in your marriage, in your business, in this place that you're at in life where you are at the crossroads. You're at the threshold of transition saying something has got to change. I want more. I want more for my life. I want more for my marriage. I want more out of this next season of my life. I cannot keep cycling in the same place. And yet, there are things that have been unresolved inside of you. So, today I'm going to talk about the path forward. And maybe you've heard it before, but I'm just going to hit you with it right out the gate. Have you ever heard the saying, the way to the other side is through, the way to the thing is through the thing, or the cave you fear holds the treasure you seek? Well, today we're going to be talking about radical honesty as the path to freedom, radical honesty as the path to an amazing marriage, radical honesty as the path to true partnership with God. Here's the deal. A lot of us want so badly to have a great marriage, more connection, more unity, stronger family, right? A shared vision. We want to have fulfillment and meaning in our work. We want to come home and have peace and joy and the ability to relax and enjoy our life. But we have been so dishonest with ourselves. We've been so dishonest with ourselves. So today is a call to bring things that were hidden to light, to stop with the BS, to stop with the lying and bring the truth out front. So I want to talk about a couple of things. Number one, I want to talk about getting radically honest with yourself, radically honest with God, and radically honest with your spouse. Okay. As you move forward, if you're really ready for change. Secondly, I want to help you unpack the difference between living in the place where we are hiding things from ourselves, consciously or not, where we're still living in the lie, versus when we live in the truth of who we are, what we desire, where we're at, right? What we've done, and we just move in freedom. So I want to give you some contrast because there's a lot of you who I work with, who I've heard from, who reach out, who are on my email list, that you are still living in this place that feels very heavy, very blocked up, very backed up, very disconnected. And today, I hope that this conversation brings you freedom and connection again, connection to yourself, connection to God, connection to your partner, connection to the future that is waiting for you to make a more powerful decision. So here's the thing. Step number one, you have got to become radically honest with yourself. If you don't like where you are today in your marriage, you don't like where the disconnection is, the way you guys talk to each other, the lack of respect, the lack of trust, just the little paper cuts, the walking on eggshells, the roommate situation you've got going on, or just that maybe things are fine, but they're not amazing. They're not the way God created you to be. It is time to get radically honest with yourself and stop saying things are fine. Things are okay. Do you want fine in your life? I don't know about you, but fine is a 4-letter word for me. I'm not talking about discontentment. I'm not talking about just not being grateful for what God has given you, grateful for your wife, grateful for your life, grateful for your family. I'm talking about getting honest about where you are, because there's a lot of you listening to this who are still lying to yourself, saying that I've gotten over this, I'm past this doesn't bother me, it's not a big deal. And in the name of keeping the peace, you just keep creating more anxiousness, more heaviness, more disconnection. And so the first step to freeing yourself is to get honest about where you truly are. Are you in a place where you feel isolated? Are you in a place where you feel alone? Are you in a place where you actually don't know what to do? Can you admit that, right? Can you admit that you don't have the answers right now, that you don't have the solutions, that you don't know what to do? I think as high achievers, so often we've just been programmed to always have the answers, to always be in control, to always know the next move, or we're supposed to know. And when we don't know, when we are struggling, no one ever taught us how to reach out, how to ask for help, how to actually admit that we're struggling right now. Okay. If there's things from the past that have been said, things that have been done, a lot of us have been taught to just pull up our big girl pants, our big boy pants, whatever, get over it, move on. But what is the truth about where you're at? You will never experience freedom in your marriage if you are still lying about how you truly feel inside of your marriage, yourself, how you feel about the marriage, what you desire. So, step one is stop lying to yourself. How are you doing? How are you doing mentally? How's your heart doing? How's your spirit doing? Right? Like, are you fulfilled by the work that you do? Are you still aligned to the work that you do? Is this where you feel like you belong, or has God been pulling on your heart to do something different? So you've got to get honest with yourself. Secondly, I've already tapped into this, but you need to get honest with your partner, your spouse, right? There's again so many people that I coach, that I work with, who reach out and they want to know, how do I communicate to my spouse? How do I communicate? By the way, if you want to know, how do I start to communicate in a more effective manner, how to become more present at home and get on the same page, I do have a free guide. You can download it. There's a free cheat sheet right here below. This one's for men, but ladies, if you want to download it, you can get it too. But I want to say that this is built off of principles. This isn't just tactics and quick fixes, right? It is built off of years of working with people and recognizing that we don't often have like real conversations with each other. And so the second thing I want to say here is that we've got to get honest with our spouse. Your spouse, your wife, your husband is supposed to be your number one partner in life. Like, they're there to amplify you, to multiply you, to accomplish way more than you could ever do on your own. And you're there for them. We're there for each other, okay? They're not just there for us. Like, we're here for each other. So I'm in this marriage for to make my husband a better man, to partner with him, to breathe life into him, to speak life over him, and to amplify everything God wants to do in our life. And also, let me say that there have been times in our marriage where that has not felt like the case. In fact, I have felt very disconnected and very much like there was a lot of friction between us, and we just could not get on the same page about parenting or finances or the business. I mean, we have 6 kids, right? We run a business together and we're in the same industry. We're both very similar personality types, very strong-minded, strong-willed, and so there's been times where the rub was real. And there was also times where I thought, you know what, I'm just going to push through. I'm going to get over it. No big deal. But I was carrying bitterness. I was carrying resentments. I was not okay with the way things were. And eventually I finally had to just be honest with him about where I was, like, that I am not okay. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay mentally right now. Emotionally, I feel unsupported. I feel alone, and just to be honest. And when we are allowing ourselves to be radically honest with each other, it bridges the gap, y'all. It bridges the gap of disconnection. So I want to just encourage you that it is time. Is it time to stop lying to your spouse about how you are doing, where you are at, what you desire for yourself, for the marriage, for them, right? For the future. Thirdly, we've got to be honest, radically honest with God. And here's the thing, if we're not radically honest with God, it's like He has x ray vision of our life. He knows every single thing that's going on. He knows the motives of our hearts. So we go, and I caught myself recently doing this, going to prayer, and I'm like, God, I'm just trying to be like all positive and bubbly and thankful, which is great. You're supposed to be thankful, right? And I'm talking to him about my day and what he would have me do and what would he have me focus on and what does he want me to know. And I'm very conversational with God. And he's like, how are you doing? And I noticed that I was bypassing. Okay. This is important because a lot of us have been taught to do this. We bypass how we're actually doing, but God knows. And I was like, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with this. And he's like, "Yeah, I know." Right? Like, "I know you're struggling. So why are you trying to talk about everything else except for the main thing?" And there's been times, God is so gracious, where I have had to, I'm over there and I'm thinking I'm asking for clarity on a business deal or something about the kids, and the Lord wants to deal with the matter of my heart, what's going on inside of my heart. And I see so many leaders are in this place where we're praying for things and we're going and doing our morning devotionals and we're going to church and we're doing all these things, but we're not dealing with what's in our heart, truly being raw and real about where we're at. Like, God, I'm having trouble right now. Like, I'm upset. I'm angry. I'm disappointed about this. I'm really, whatever the thing is, that you're going through, and I'm struggling and I need help and I don't know how to navigate this. There is such power in that level of vulnerability. Like, I want to believe, but I'm struggling in unbelief right now. Like, will you help me with my disbelief? That's such a powerful prayer. Will you help me with my disbelief? Will you help me trust when I can't I'm having trouble trusting you. Like, that's the truth, right? So I want to say this as a preface because if you truly want freedom, there's a lot of us that want to walk in freedom in our marriage. We want connection, we want peace, we want alignment. It all sounds amazing, but everybody's like, but how? What? And I'm here to tell you that freedom is already available now. It's not something you work towards, it's something you learn to walk in. Freedom was already given to you. It's just like peace. In a recent episode, I said a lot of people are praying for peace, but we're sitting here praying for things that we already have been given, meaning like peace was already given to us. Jesus Christ is called the Prince of Peace, the author and perfecter of our faith. So I'm praying for faith and I'm praying for peace instead of saying, activating my faith, operating from faith, operating from peace, and studying that and asking the Lord to teach me how to walk in peace. And freedom is like that as well. You have been given freedom. It's available now, but you are living in bondage because of a bunch of lies. You haven't learned how to talk like a free man or a free woman, how to share and express yourself freely, authentically. You haven't learned how to operate in spiritual freedom yet. So, radical honesty is the path forward. Right now, if you're cycling in a season of uncertainty, you don't know what the next step is in your marriage. There's a lot of unknowns. You don't know what the next step is in the business. There's a lot of unknowns financially, economically, whatever that is. And I'm sharing this because I've gone through many transitions and seasons of change and evolution and upgrades where the Lord is inviting me into a new thing. But if you stay in the place of lying to yourself and lying to Him and lying to everyone else about where you actually are, it's like you will keep walking in a circle and keep cycling through this place of heaviness, of massive heaviness. And the longer you stay in that place where you're lying, right? You're staying in darkness, the more heavy it becomes, the more disconnected you feel. So what do hidden things do? I already tapped into it, but I'm going to say that again. Hidden things become heavy things. Okay? I'm going to say this again. Hidden things become heavy things. It could be that you have hidden grief, hidden sorrow, hidden anger, hidden resentment. You might have some things done in your past that you haven't fully disclosed to your spouse. You may have some things that you haven't fully reconciled, right? Things need to be reconciled. Loops need to be closed. And I have gone through this again in my own life where I have gone through seasons where I have made decisions, poor decisions, financial decisions. Recently, I'm thinking of something where a couple years ago, the Lord put it on my heart to share with my husband about a relationship that I had had right before we got together and or an exchange. And I was like, "But God, I dealt with this already. Like, we dealt with this years ago. This is not anything that happened while we were married. It was not anything that I didn't betray him while we were married, nothing like that. Why are you asking me to share this moment in time with him when I don't want to upset him? I don't want to bring things up from the past. It's irrelevant. Like, I'm over it. It's in the past, right? We do this. It's in the past." And yet the Lord kept putting it on my heart. Like, you need to just go and reveal, disclose. And it just started getting heavier and it started getting heavier and it started getting heavier on me because the heaviness was about I was carrying this thing. I clearly could feel the Lord saying He wanted it out in the open. And I was like, I don't want it out in the open. It's not, anything I really want to bring up. But here's the thing. Eventually, I said, okay, Lord, if you want me to bring this up, then I'm going to trust you and I'm going to move in faith and I'm going to do it and from a place of obedience and love. And I'm going to trust that you have a plan and a reason for this. And that day when I said, "Hey, I have something I need to share, reveal," we're going to talk about revelation in a moment. I want to say this, like, I did not want to tell my spouse. I did not want to tell my husband, like, "Hey, right before I met you, I had, or just when I met you around that time, I also went out with someone else." And which was the truth. We were not fully committed yet. But here's the thing. When I disclosed that, what that did was it provided an opportunity for my husband to disclose something to me that he had hidden from me. that he had hidden, he had kept in secret, he had kept in hiding, and he had held on to it this whole time. And it was something that was very heavy for him, that was causing him a lot of anguish as well. And I love how God does this. It gave us the opportunity to bring both things that we were both carrying. There was a heaviness, and we had not wanted to reveal it for a multitude of reasons, maybe fear, insecurity, shame, guilt, like all the things. But we laid it on the table, and by one person going first, not only did it create the space that then the Holy Spirit really said, okay, now it's your turn, right? To my husband. And he got to share with me, like, hey, something happened. And this was actually while we were together, that there was some things hidden that got to be brought up, and we had to clean house, right? We get to bring things to the table. There was some financial things, there were some relational things, and it was, I'm not going to lie and tell you it felt good. It did not feel good. It was heartbreaking at the time to hear the things. And I did feel betrayed. But at the same time, what it did was it laid things that were heavy out front, that were hidden out front. And it was like the heaviness lifted off, and we were able to actually see things for what they were. We were able to deal with the roots of what caused those behaviors and patterns in the first place. And we were able to recommit on another level to each other, to our future together, to God together, and get radically honest about what put us into those places. Where did those decisions come from? And start to guard our marriage. Y'all, this is why I talk about guarding your marriage so much. So when we hide things, they become heavy things, and those heavy things become blocks. Okay. So not only is it physically heavy, physically you feel heavy, mentally you feel heavy, emotionally it's a weight in you. And this is why Jesus says, come to me, all who are heavy and burdened. It's not just religious rituals, but it's because you're carrying all this stuff that I asked you to give to me. I asked you to bring me your insecurities, your mistakes from the past, the bad decisions you made, the things that you feel horrible about, like the things that you're holding on to, like just give it to me so that I can give you lightness. The heaviness makes you heavy, it weighs you down, but it also blocks your ability to hear God. Okay, so if we're in this place and we're like, God, I want more, okay, I want you to fill in the blank, but we're not honest with ourselves, it disrupts your ability to hear what God is trying to say to you. There's a lot of people that reach out and say, Christine, I cannot hear God's voice. Will you help me understand how do I hear God's voice? And it's not just, okay, I'm going to teach you how to activate your hearing. Like spiritual hearing is a sense, spiritual sight. There's all kinds of spiritual sensing and knowing, but your senses will become dull if you are carrying things from the past, if there are hidden things, because hidden things are dark, they're oppressive. They're depressive. They're laden with guilt, with shame, with anger, with bitterness. And those things are not of God. So it separates us from the ability to hear God clearly. If we can't hear God clearly, it also separates us from our ability and distorts our ability to hear our spouse clearly. So they might be saying something, but you are hearing through the lens and the filter of the rock, the weight. Does that make sense? It's like it puts up imaginary walls, sometimes physical walls. So not only does it make you heavy, but it blocks your ability to hear God, to hear yourself clearly, to hear the other people around you. Maybe you've got some really wise counsel, people who love you, who will speak into you, but you're not receiving the wisdom. You're not receiving their revelation. It's like you have earplugs in, right? You're having trouble discerning. It will separate you from your emotions. You'll become numb. Okay. You won't be able to access the joy, the hope, the faith, the love, the affection. Like there's so many people again that I work with. They're like, I'm numb. Like I want to feel, I want to feel. And this is why we start to run to different things to make us feel important. Some of us are addicted to our work. We're addicted to being the one that everybody comes to at work. Some of us are addicted to substances. Some of us are addicted to whatever it is, anywhere we go that will allow us to access some kind of feeling. And this is what addictions are at the base level. So we're trying to access a feeling or numb ourselves from a feeling. So heavy things or dark things, hidden things that are not reconciled. They've never been processed. They've not been dealt with. They've not been brought to light. They're still hidden. They're skeletons in your closet. They're things you have not been radically honest with yourself about. They become blocks. Blocks to hearing, blocks to seeing, blocks to receiving, blocks to feeling, and blocks to moving forward. They will literally keep you stuck and paralyzed in one place out of fear. I can't move forward because what if I do? Then I'll be discovered. I can't move forward because I can't trust. I can't move forward. And so you're in this place where you are immobilized to move forward. Okay. This is huge for those of you who want to build connection inside of your marriages, who want to move to a place of healing and unity and build together. You've got to get that stuff that's been hidden out. Okay. So first of all, you've got to do this in a safe environment. And this is why coaching is very helpful, or therapy sometimes, to help you work through the process of bringing things up in a way that honors, respects, is safe, and you can actually do it from the right heart. The last thing that hidden things become is chains. Okay. Hidden things become chains. They put us into places of bondage. You may have heard the word strongholds, but strongholds become these things that become so big that they literally, it's like they have tied you down. Their ideas, their belief systems, their spiritual roots to many mental and emotional strongholds. But hidden things become chains of bondage. Eventually, the things that are hidden own you. That affair from the past that you never told your spouse about, that one time, that one night, that one spending thing, that extra credit card, those extra business deals that you didn't tell your spouse about, the bitterness, right? The resentments you've been stacking, they start to own you. They start to direct you. And you know what I'm talking about. They start to siphon your attention. You're thinking about them in the background. Why? Because they're open loops. They haven't been reconciled. They haven't been completed and then released. And so whenever we have all these open loops mentally and emotionally, because we haven't emotionally processed things, pains, hurts, disappointments, whatever from the past, they remain like open tabs, mentally open tabs, emotionally. And it's like debt. We start taking on mental debt, emotional debt, physical debt in our bodies. Our body starts paying the price. And now that's what the bondage is. Now we're like a slave to this because there's been so much debt accumulated that we can't get ourselves out of it. This isn't like paycheck to paycheck. It's like we just keep taking withdrawals and never actually reconciling the account. I hope you guys are catching what I'm saying. So hidden things become heavy things. They become blocks and they become chains. This is why the word of God says, bring things to the light, right? The truth shall set you free. I want to say this. Luke 12:2-3 says, there's nothing concealed that will not be made known. Everything that is said in the dark will be heard in the light. There's so many references and connotations and applications for this. You know, what you do in private will always be revealed in the light, right? When we pray in private, it's revealed in the light. When we work out in private and we train our body and we eat well, it's revealed in the light. You can see by how I look, right? So there are beautiful things that we do in secret in the quiet places that when we are disciplined and we show up for ourselves, we show up for God in public, they're seen, right? They're established. But so are the things that are done in secret in the dark. Eventually, everything will be brought to light. All the mysteries will be brought to light and made sense. Mark 4:22 says, nothing is hidden except to be made manifest, nor is anything secret except to come to light. This is a beautiful thing. If you feel like you've been in obscurity, if you've been putting in, a lot of work behind the scenes and maybe no one's recognized it, everything will be brought to light. Everything will be reconciled. But it's also should be alarming for those of you who are carrying around secret sins, skeletons in the closet. I'm not saying this from a place of condemnation, but from a place that I want to free you. I want you to say yes to your own freedom, mental freedom, emotional freedom, physical freedom from whatever addictions may or may not be present, and also just freedom and alignment to the future that God has for you. So nothing is hidden except for to be made manifest. Everything that is hidden will eventually show up in the physical. It will show up in your relationship. Again, it will manifest as arguments with your spouse, as seeing each other the wrong way, which will then manifest more arguments, which will manifest more physical division inside of your home. Like everything will manifest. If we have these things inside of our teams, they manifest, right? Same thing. We have division in teams. We have fallouts in teams. We have good people that leave because there's environments that are toxic, or we just, there's deception. People can feel deception. We're energetic and spiritual beings. And so this is the thing. We're not really fooling anyone. You're not fooling yourself. You're definitely not fooling God, because the word of God says there is a way that seems right to man, but in the end, it is the way to death. It's so interesting because the Lord, so often in my life, I have thought like, oh no, my motive was good. Like, I want to protect them. How often do people say, well, I didn't want to tell her. I didn't want to tell him because I was protecting her. I was protecting him. The amount of men, actually, and women too, but more men, that have reached out to me and say, well, I didn't tell her about these financial deals, these business deals, that debt I took on for the business, because I didn't want her to be worried. You know what that is? That's deception. That's hiding. That's complete disunity, division, a house divided. So we'll do these things in the name of protecting our spouse, preserving the relationship. But what we're actually inviting is division, deception, right? And over time, you all know it. You hear me say it all the time. It will be brought to light. It will come up, and it will not be good if people are found out without true confession, which we're going to talk about in a minute, which means revelation. I reveal the truth before I'm caught in the lie. Okay. So, you know, Proverbs tells us over and over again that in a man, like in our heart, we think we're doing the right thing. In a man's heart, his ways are pure. They're right. Like, I'm in right standing. I'm doing the right thing. But the Lord examines the heart. The Lord weighs the motives of the heart, and he also weighs the spirits that are running the motivation inside of a man's heart. Because that man or that woman who's not telling their spouse about the business deals, the bank accounts, the emotional affairs, whatever it is not doing it, is doing it out of a spirit of fear, out of a self-serving spirit of pride, self-preservation, self-protection. None of that is of God, right? None of that is the fruit of the Spirit of God. So the Lord weighs and examines the motives of our heart. That's why a really powerful prayer is, Lord, examine the motives of my heart. Reveal them to me. You reveal them to me, please, so that I can deal with it with you. I can clean it up before it's revealed. And then I'm just going, oh my gosh, now I have to deal with this, right? Because a lot of times you could be thinking, I'm doing the right thing. I'm keeping the peace, right? But you're not leading from peace. You're leading from fear of what your spouse will think. And so you just don't lead. You become passive in your relationship. So as we walk this out, what does it mean? How do we get through this? We speak up. We share the truth. We pray. We say, Lord, thank you for giving me the boldness, the courage, the faithfulness to walk in freedom, to speak the truth, to walk in the light, to bring things that are hidden into the light. Give me the strength to do that. Thank you for the strength. Thank you for the courage. Thank you. And we start being honest with ourselves. We start being honest with God. We start being honest with our spouse. When we walk in revelation, we reveal the hidden things. You know what we experience? We experience lightness. It's like the most terrifying thing, because we think we're going to die. Your subconscious thinks you're going to die. And even your conscious mind might be like, okay, we're going to die. If I tell that person that thing, they're going to hate me forever. If I tell my spouse how disappointed I am, or how sad I am, or the fact that I'm still grieving, or the fact that I, whatever it is, had an affair, had an emotional affair, thought about having an affair, been spending money behind their back, whatever it is, there's a terrifying fear that they will leave you, right? That they'll never love you again. Like, these are fears that people have, but we have to lead with faith. And we know that on the other side of bringing things from a place of true confession of the heart, I have seen so many marriages restored. I have seen so many lives healed, marriages healed, people healed of physical, mental, and emotional things, families healed, children reconciled, because of true heart confession, revelation that says, you know what? I've got to bring this out, and I want to be honest, and I want to own it, and I'm going to lay it down, and we're going to partner with God on healing this. You don't have to do this alone. You partner with God. He wants to partner with you in the healing, in going through it. When we bring things to light, things become lighter. You become mentally lighter. Mental bandwidth starts to open up. You know why? Because you're processing things. You're bringing them out front. They lose their power over you. So they're not as heavy. What used to feel oppressive and depressive becomes lighter, more manageable, because again, you're not carrying the burden alone, but you're putting the burden out front. You're sacrificing it. You're bringing it to the altar of the Lord. You're saying, God, I want to give this to you. Help me to work through this. And he does, and he picks up that heaviness and you feel a lightness, but not until you bring it to the table. Okay. You don't feel light and then you put it on the table. You put it on the table first. And that is the place of obedience, faith, and courage. Be bold and courageous. The Lord is with you. You will be lighter physically. You'll be lighter mentally. You're going to have more bandwidth start to open up because you're not going to be consumed thinking about it all the time, thinking about who's going to find out, how you're going to hide it, how you have to keep suppressing what you're actually feeling or pretending, but you're actually going to be freed from that. So mentally, you'll be lighter. There'll be more space to think. You'll feel emotionally lighter, which again, where you are closed off and unable to connect, you'll be able to feel again. This is a beautiful thing. When there's revelation, feeling starts to come again, right? We start to feel all of it. You will feel the grief. You will feel the sorrow, but you've got to feel it to heal it. You will also feel the healing. You will feel the love. You will feel the grace. You'll feel the mercy. You'll experience the goodness of God as he starts to put things back together. So if you don't feel it, you can't heal it. Okay. So this is the thing. A lot of us are terrified of the feeling. And so we keep trying to run from it or hide from it instead of pressing into it. The minute you press in, it loses power over you. It gets processed, it gets moved, and it gets transformed, right? God is in the business of transforming your heart. And so revelation opens our eyes and ears again. We can see clearly. We start to have more clarity. We can start to have better direction. We can start to hear the voice of God. Our spiritual senses start opening up. Our sensitivity towards each other, that is positive and healthy, starts to come alive. This is important for those of you who want to have connection, because a lot of you are so hijacked in your nervous system towards your spouse that your sensitivity is always that that person is a threat, that everything she says, everything he does is a threat to me, is a judgment. They're looking at me, and it has become a block. So now your sensitivity gets reconfigured, and now you're sensitive to their heart, but not in a fearful way, in a compassionate way, in a gracious way, in a merciful way, right? And now you can connect with their heart. You can connect with their spirit. You can connect as one mind, where before you didn't have access because you were both like walled up, hidden, pretending, surface level. And I hope that this serves as an invitation for you today to really decide to bring things out. And finally, revelation frees us. Revelation frees us, but only if we apply it. You can have insight. You can have, the gift of peace, the gift of freedom. You can have the gift of life, but not walk in the fullness of life, not walk in the fullness of freedom, not experience peace as you go about your day. They're gifts. They're freely given, but you must learn to receive them, to unwrap them, and to walk in them. You got to learn to use the gifts that God gave you. And so I'm going to wrap there, but I hope that today, as you think about if there's an area of your life, maybe it's your marriage, maybe it's just you trying to decide what to do in this next season of your life. And if you're honest with yourself, it's felt really heavy. You've not been able to hear the voice of God very clearly. You felt maybe disoriented, and and you feel trapped. Well, there's something that needs to be brought up, and I call it radical honesty. So this is an invitation for you to get radically honest with yourself, with God, with your spouse about the situation you're in, because that is the first step to walking over the line, over the threshold into the new season. And that is a beautiful thing, because once you cross over that line, you don't go back to the old place. You're moving forward in a new direction. So you guys, I hope that this was helpful for you today. If it was, please like, comment, share, spread the word. And as always, for those of you who are in a season of transition and you are seeking to partner with God to really walk in freedom, to walk in the peace, to build a life where you have an amazing marriage, you're doing the work God's calling you to do, and you're doing it from a place of vitality, energy, not drain, certainty, right? There's a confidence because you know who you are. Then I invite you to book a call, see if coaching is the right next step. We have a limited number of seats in our executive roundtable where I work intimately with executives, founders, and leaders, getting their marriage, life, and business in complete alignment and partnership with the Lord. It is an amazing container of leaders. We also have a 4-month rapid implementation challenge starting for those of you who want to just take back the territory of your home, learn how to lead with greater presence, learn how to lead with greater confidence and clarity, and get on the same team again. So if you want to learn about that, click on the link below. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you guys for being here. It's always an honor and a privilege to be here to serve you. I hope that this was helpful for you today, and I hope that it blessed you. Have a great day.